So, the best anti-aging foods I enjoy every day. So, I'm Jules Clancy, your new favorite that you didn't know you had, food-loving food scientist. And here in Joyful Eating, I help food lovers lose weight with ease and joy and also look and feel amazing as you age. So, our plan for today is I'll first share the story behind this article, and then we're going to look at why anti-aging foods are so important and actually what's the research there. Then we're going to look at the 9 anti-aging foods that I do love eating every day and a big mistake to avoid. And then we'll wrap it up with a key takeaway on how you can put it into practice. And I'll share some personal stuff at the end if you want to catch up with what's happening in the world of Jules. So the story behind this episode is so I've had this crazy goal to live to be 122 and to be happy, active, and healthy until I'm at least 122, not decrepit and living in a whatever, actually to be an active member of the community for that long. And the reason for that goal is because I was quite old, they call it geriatric, when I had my children. So my first I had when I was 40, and then my second when I was 43 and a half. So whenever there's any school functions, I can pretty much guarantee that I will be the oldest mom there. And it was interesting because last week I went and volunteered for canteen for Finbud School. And there was another mum there who was pregnant, and we were talking and stuff. And she was talking about how her husband's so old because he's 34 or something. And I was like, yeah, man, he's really old in my head going, yeah, whatever. And then she mentioned how, oh, but it's okay. I've got a couple of years before I'm 30. And this, so she was obviously 28, 27, and she was pregnant with her third child. And I was like, whoa, completely different spectrum. I am 25 years older than you. So crazy. I didn't ask her, of course, but I would have been curious to see if she realized how much older I was than her because I'm like 53 and a half. But that just got me thinking about the healthy aging piece and how that's in such an important part for me. And I thought I would do an episode on specific foods that I'm actually eating every day for A, because I love them, but also B, because they're going to help me look and feel amazing as I age, so that I get to be a grandmother who's active and involved in her grandkids' lives. And given that I was in my 40s, I can't expect my kids to have kids until they're in their 40s. So I need to be at least 80 to make it there. So let's first look at the why, because I think whenever Simon Sinek has his book start with why, but when we understand the why behind something, it makes it much more compelling for us to actually figure out the what and the how. So let's look at why diet has a huge impact on aging. So the research is really clear on this. There's a huge correlation between what we eat, the type of foods that we eat, and how we age physically, emotionally, mentally, and cognitively to like our brain health. So you would have heard of there was a Harvard study published in 2024 that looked at 25,000 US women and followed them for 25 years. And the ones who closely followed a Mediterranean diet had up to a 23% lower risk of all cause mortality. So they were 23% less likely to die. And also they had benefits in terms of cardiovascular health and cancer as well, which are the top 2 causes of death in women and men at the moment. And then there was another study, had the same thing, that diet has a huge impact on longevity and healthy aging. In terms of brain health, there was a study done, and this was they were getting people to use the MIND diet, which is similar to the Mediterranean diet, but a little bit more specific in terms of the types of vegetables I think that they include. But basically, that whole idea of eating not a lot of animal protein, but a lot of vegetables and some animal protein. And that was linked, so that followed 14,000 people over 10 years, and that was linked with lower cognitive impairment and slower rate of cognitive decline. So the people who were eating the more Mediterranean, or they call it MIND diet, they had better brain health over 10 years. And similar, there's another study done that showed similar benefits for people following a Mediterranean diet in terms of improved memory, processing speed, and long-term protection against neurodegenerative conditions. This was interesting. So there was a study that looked at protein intake in older adults and protein malnutrition. So not getting enough protein is emerging as a potential risk factor for dementia. So that's interesting as well. So muscle strength, of course, is linked to, yeah, so people who followed a Mediterranean diet had a significantly less incidence of sarcopenia, which is that muscle wasting that happens with age. They had 15%, whereas the people who didn't follow a Mediterranean diet, who had more processed food, they had a 26% chance of developing sarcopenia. And that muscle frailty, there's a longevity or geriatrician that I follow, and her whole thing is that muscle is the organ of longevity. So if you've got good healthy muscles, then your body will keep up with your muscles. And so if you let your muscles shrink, then you're asking for frailty and problems. In terms of health, like brain health, muscle function, cancer risk, cardiovascular health, and also biological aging, as our cells age, there's a huge link between what we eat and all those factors. And then on the kind of beauty side, like how we look, the research is really interesting here as well. Diet high in sugar and as well as barbecued and fried foods accelerates skin aging. Another study found that wrinkles decreased. So if someone was more following a Mediterranean diet, they had less wrinkles than someone who wasn't. So basically, more sugar and processed food equals faster skin aging, so more wrinkles. And the mechanism for that is known. It's to do with these things called advanced glycation end products, which we won't go into the details there. And there'll also hair, incidence of gray hair that can be impacted by nutrition as well. So how we look. Then, of course, there's the mental health, which is hugely important to me. My dad and two of my siblings are on meds for depressions and some for anxiety. And there was a really interesting study that found that Mediterranean diet, you reduced depressive symptoms by 32 to 45% through its richness in polyphenols, omega-3 fatty acids, and fiber, which lower inflammation and promote gut health and gut diversity. And because of the gut impact, that improves dopamine and serotonin levels or modulation. So, and there's another study in Australia of 20,000 women showing that more plant-based foods and fewer processed foods reduce incidence of anxiety symptoms as well. So the mental health evidence is there as well, which is fascinating. And there's actually a new branch of psychiatry called nutritional psychiatry, which is emerging as a clinical field where they're actually looking at researching the impact between diet and mental health. And the mechanism is pretty well understood that our gut microbiome, inflammation, and neurotransmitter production are all linked. So now that we can see that eating well can have a huge impact on so many areas of how we look and feel as we age, let's look at a bit more of in the how-to. So I just thought it'd be fun to share like 9 anti-aging foods that I literally eat every single day. Okay, I might not have all of them every single day, but most of them I have at least 5 times a week. So let's go. So number 1, cab of the rank. This is my homemade yogurt. So just using cow's milk. And yogurt, of course, is great for probiotics. And I have my yogurt as an afternoon snack, and I have it with linseed. So these are also known as flax seeds. And these are really great because of the fiber. So they're really good for gut health. And they're also high in omega-3 fatty acids, which is good for reducing inflammation. Black pepper. So this is something that I pretty much put on everything these days. I've always loved black pepper, but it's really high in polyphenols, which are these compounds that feed the gut microbes. So good gut microbes love polyphenols. So the more polyphenols you eat, the better. So black pepper is a really great source of them. Extra virgin olive oil, it's so well researched, and there's a huge, you know that extra virgin olive oil and heart disease, extra virgin olive oil and brain health, huge, really robust evidence around that. So pretty much every day I have some sort of sauce made with extra virgin olive oil. So this was like a balsamic vinegar and extra virgin olive oil vinaigrette that I just have had in the fridge, or I'll make a mayonnaise with extra virgin olive oil. Those are probably my 2 go-tos, but I love sauces. Are really, really delicious. Psyllium husks. So this is another source of fiber. And so this is something that I started including about 12 months ago because I was starting to get a bit blocked up. And the psyllium really sorted that out. So I started slowly, but I'm up to 2 tablespoons a day. And I just mix that with macadamia milk. And the other thing I add with my psyllium snack is some spice, because again, similar to the black pepper, different spices have high in polyphenols, which feed the gut microbes. Plus, they make it taste really delicious. So this is my fragrant sweet spice, which is a mix of coriander, cassia, cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, ginger, poppy seeds, cloves, cardamom, and rose petals. And it's so delicious. I use that in baking as well. So that's more polyphenols. Of course, veggies are a huge part. I eat veggies every day, and particularly I really love the brassicas, so the cruciferous veggies. So this is just a Savoy cabbage. I just thought I would bring along to show you, but cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, I love all those. And I would pretty much at least one meal have a cruciferous vegetable. And basically, my approach to eating is rather than eat whole grains, I just have vegetables. So I will have vegetables and protein and sauce, and I don't bother with the grains because I've got diabetes. They're not good for me. Whereas the veggies, I'm getting all my fiber, I'm getting all the goodness that comes from them. Goodness, very scientifically technical name there. Next thing I eat every day is protein. So I don't have sardines every day, canned sardines, but they are one of my favorites. And they're awesome because they're sustainable. You don't get the mercury, you get the omega-3s. And the other great thing with sardines is you get the calcium as well, huge calcium benefit. So super important for bone health. So for me, protein, eggs, tofu, starting to get into tempeh a bit, which is fermented tofu. I do eat red meat a couple of times a week. And for me, I notice if I don't have red meat, but probably 2 or 3 times a week, I start to get low iron. I can feel it, like my energy just isn't as good. So for me, I know that there's a lot of research saying that red meat's not great, but I think for me, it feels better when I do. So I trust my body on that one. And then final anti-aging food I eat every day is something fermented. So this is some sauerkraut that I've made with red cabbage, but I ferment heaps of different vegetables. And usually, so when I have my lunch, I'll just put a bit of fermented veg on the side, and same with dinner. So I'm usually getting 3 serves of fermented foods a day from the yogurt and then my 2 fermented veg as well. So they're my 9 anti-aging foods I eat every day. And then in terms of biggest mistake to avoid, I think when we start delving into the research and looking at the science behind this, and you're like, oh, I shouldn't be having processed food, sugar's giving me wrinkles. We want to just avoid the biggest mistake people think, and that's to go into this black and white, all or nothing, and like sugar is bad, processed food's really bad paradigm. And the thing is that there's nothing wrong with sugar. So, of course, having lots of sugar all the time and not having many vegetables, that's not great for you on any level. However, having a little bit of sugar a few times a week that you enjoy, that enjoyment factor is definitely outweighs any of the negative health consequences of just having that little bit. And so remember, it's like how much we have of these things. So I still have white bread, I still have white rice. I still have processed food, but that's on the rare occasion. That might be once or twice a week, whereas the majority of the days I'm eating the Mediterranean way. There's definitely a place I would never stop eating ice cream. I love it so much. But do I need ice cream every day? No, but a couple of times a week, yeah. Am I mindful of my quantities? Absolutely. So yeah, just wanted to put that caveat in before we wrapped up. So key takeaway, putting this strategy into practice. So there's so much evidence that eating a Mediterranean style diet works for all aspects of aging, and it's really cool to see that there's the layering effect, that it's good for gut health, it's good for brain health, it's good for cardio health, it's good for everything, it's good for wrinkles, it's good for your hair. So you go, okay, if it's good for all of these things, then yeah, it's a pretty compelling story. But what I would recommend doing in terms of what to action next is, rather than thinking you have to completely overhaul your diet, is just from my list of things today. So yogurt, linseeds or flax seeds, black pepper, olive oil, psyllium, sweet spices, veggies, protein, fermented foods. Which one do you feel like, oh, actually, I'm not really having any of that or having very much of that? And which one would you like to experiment with adding in? Just one that you're going to add in on a daily or semi-daily basis and just experiment. And if you're not sure where to start, I highly recommend the psyllium. Seriously, it's the best. And fiber is so important for all of this. And it actually has a huge impact on weight as well. If we're eating enough fiber, more of the food, more of the calories get passed out through the gut. But with psyllium, start small, just a teaspoon a day, and make sure you have lots of water. Chug a heap, at least a whole glass of water when you're having it, because otherwise, if you have too much fiber and not enough water, that can cause blockages as well. And then work your way up. So yeah, if you'd help putting this into practice, then check out my new workshop on my habits for healthy aging. So it's called 3 Unavoidable Surprises That Derail Even the Most Cautious Healthy Aging Plans. So check out the link in the show notes for more details about that. And before we wrap up, my best bite that I had, got my red menopausal flush going on my face at the moment. Best bite I had. So strawberry swirl ice cream. So my youngest Finbar, his favorite flavor of ice cream is strawberries. And I found some strawberries in the freezer that I got from the farmer's market months and months ago. And so I used them to make a strawberry base, but I didn't have that many strawberries. So it wasn't very strawberry-ish. And so I had the idea to I had some strawberry jam that I made years ago, actually, from strawberries from the farmer's market. So after I'd churned the ice cream, I just got some of the jam and swirled that through the strawberry base, and then we froze it. And because of all the sugar in the jam, it didn't freeze. And yeah, you just got this strawberry jammy flavor explosion in amongst the kind of more subtle fresh strawberry. It was really good. And what I'm excited about, so we've been talking about aging. I'm really excited about one day, hopefully less than 40 years time, actually less than 30 years time, given my youngest is now 10. So I only got 30 years to wait, that I will get to be a healthy granny who's keeping up with her grandkids. Okay, have a beautiful week, and I'll catch you next week.